When David Chipperfield invited me to make the exhibition, I was interested in two or three things about common ground. The first one was the relationship between art and architecture, and of how architects, like artists, use pre-existing ideas and forms, and they reinterpret, they reinvent and transform them. The reason why I selected this artwork here, which was made by a cooperative of women in my country for the library that is part of the project behind me. They saw this image of Guernica in an art book, and they were completely caught up by it. Now, these are people who are illiterate, and they saw this image of Guernica and felt the power of Picasso's anger about Franco 50 years into the future. But now they were dealing with something that they were angry about, which was HIV and AIDS. So that the drawing I made of the plan of Red Location is really to try and show you how we are trying to establish a new common ground in our city in Port Elizabeth, which was divided by apartheid and where people were kept apart. And the city government has now decided to build a cultural precinct in the middle of a shack settlement, a shanty town. The other issue of common ground also had to do with two more things. It had to do with the idea of being able to share with people in Europe the idea of how we would make a set of public spaces in South Africa, which, even though it's in a shack settlement, shows certain similarities to the kind of experience people would have. So you bridge across difference. And then the final thing is, for me, this idea of the drawing being common ground for all architects, in as much as the drawing is a narrative form which can tell the story of the architecture, and my anger at the way in which contemporary architecture has abandoned the plan as an important drawing. So I spent 6 months making this drawing by hand as an act of protest to reclaim the common ground of the plan. They have it's called the Cascama Trust, and they have a cooperative. It's about 100 women, and they make artworks on the east coast of South Africa, and they make works now that are sold all over the world. But they work as a cooperative. Everything is shared in a cooperative way, and they approached us because we had built a museum and an art gallery and a library in this place, Red Location, and they wanted to make a piece that would be part of our buildings. And so they made this piece to fit into the library, and it's on exhibition in the library. We brought it to the Biennale for exhibition here. But it's also the story. If you have a look at the bottom of the tapestry, there are a series of little tin plaques which recognize the names of women who died of AIDS. Many of them come from this community, and they're known to these women who live in Hamburg. So there are strong connections right across these different communities. In Europe, you're fascinated with the image and nothing else. In South Africa, we still have the chance to make architecture that is useful and beautiful. So it's a much nicer place to practice. Here, you're held hostage to the image, and you have superstars who strut around, they paparazzi photograph them, and it's gone completely weird. I don't understand this. I saw Jo Noero walking in here yesterday, and people treated him like he was a movie star. I mean, he's just an architect, like everyone else. What the hell's going on here?